I want to come back briefly to an issue I discussed last week about this big problem we've got of not getting enough workers now. It seems incredible, but there it is. There's an official estimate now of 100,000 people short just in hospitality alone, particularly with the foreign students and backpackers gone. Maybe people are being paid too much to sit at home. I don't know. Now, some restaurants have got so short of staff they've had to shut, which is tragedy after being closed so long by the lockdowns in Victoria and New South Wales. And last week I suggested one possible solution: people on the pension. Now, right now, if they can earn more than $90 a week, their pension is cut by 50 cents for every extra dollar they earn. So, of course, very few want to work for essentially 50 cents in the dollar. And they might earn more. If they could earn more, they might actually fill in exactly where we're short of labour, like waiting, I don't know. Joining me is Ian Henschke, Chief Advocate of National Seniors Australia. Ian Henschke, thanks for your time. Do you think this would work if we raised the amount of money people could earn before losing their pension?
Well, Andrew, I think we've got to remember one thing. If you encourage people to work, they will. If you discourage people from working, they won't. So I was really pleased to see that Gina REINHART has come out and talked about this, and I think she's watching tonight, Andrew, so I'll say thank you to Gina, and I think you might have prompted her into this action as well, Andrew, because I'm sure she watches you. And I know that the business leaders that are out there that are watching us tonight are saying, we need the workers, we need them to be able to do the jobs that we require at the moment, and there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of older workers that would be willing to work if they didn't get punished with 50 cents in the dollar being taken off their pension after they've worked one day's work. And I spoke to a business leader today who said that they thought we should increase the work bonus, perhaps to say $20,000 a year, and then adjust the amount that they pay so that it replicates roughly what they'd pay in tax. And of course they will pay tax as well because the pension is taxable earnings. So it'll be good for the whole economy if we encourage older Australians to work and to stay and work longer.
Now, what prompted me here was a friend of mine saying that he'd been to a restaurant. They were down to a few days a week, and one down the road had closed, that kind of thing, precisely because they couldn't get waiters, and that seems to be one of the real issues. Now, thankfully, waiters, you know, it's a demanding job, and the best waiters, you know, experience does count. But it is also a job that you don't need vast experience to start in. But it's not easy work on your feet all day. Do you think the age could really step in here?
Well, Andrew, I went to America a few years ago and I saw many people in their late 60s and 70s working. I've seen the same in other parts of the world where people are working. And we're not saying we're forcing people to work. What we're doing here is we're encouraging people to stay and work. And we know that it's better for the people as well. But look, it's a thing that's needed in the economy at the moment. So I think the fact that you've raised this and the fact that Gina REINHART has come out and raised it, and look, we talked about this, I think, 2 years ago, Andrew. I can remember talking on Sky News about this when we had the retirement income review, and I said, look, there are 1 in 4 pensioners who are living in poverty, and those people should be able to work more and keep more when they work. Now, we can still keep the assets test, obviously, but we need to encourage people who want to work to keep working, and so they can get a bit more money, and that'll stimulate the economy as well. So you get the benefit of more people working, which is better for the people themselves, better for the economy, you get more taxes paid. And if we look across to New Zealand, for example, they have many, many more people working who are receiving a pension, and that's because they have a universal pension and people just pay tax on their earnings. Now, we need to move towards that situation here where people can actually work and then not pay 50 cents in the dollar. Now, I'll go back to that situation at the moment, Andrew. If someone works at the moment, once they get past that $240 a week, they lose 50 cents in the dollar from their pension. So that is what is holding a lot of people back. I met a gentleman a couple of years ago driving a bus on the Gold Coast, and he'd lost his pension completely because he was driving a bus to and from the Gold Coast airport into the convention centre. Now, that to me, that's wrong, that he shouldn't be punished like that.
No, look, I've got all this, Ian, but on the other hand, speaking for the taxpayers of this country, it seems a little wrong that if someone can work, they've got a job, that you're also, they're not just earning that job, and which, they're taking from someone else, or someone else could have done that job. You are paying them a pension as well, as a taxpayer. And I'm not sure that a lot of people think that was particularly fair, that if you could work, you're still getting a pension.
Andrew, is it fair that someone pays 50 cents in the dollar tax because that's what you're doing with this? We're not saying this is going to be free lollies for everyone. We're actually saying what you do is you look at the people that want to work, that can work a bit more, and you actually encourage them to work. Now, the Nobel Prize winner for economics a couple of years ago talked about nudge economics. All we're saying is adjust the levers so you nudge people into work rather than nudging them out of work. There are many, many women at the moment who don't have much superannuation. Many of them work in aged care and they work in healthcare. And when they get to pension age and they discover that if they work that second day a week, they lose 50 cents in the dollar, that's just too much for people. So I think we've got to actually think about how we can adjust the system. And look, Andrew, we're going to need 100,000 workers in health and aged care in the next decade. And we can source those people from mature age workers.
I think your solution is actually healthier than the solution I'm hearing from the New South Wales Premier, from the federal government, and that is, hey, let's just import the workers instead. Why don't we get Australians here to do the jobs? We don't have to import. What are they talking about? A couple of 100,000 people a year? We don't need that. We can do it right here. Look after it ourselves. Your solution is better. Ian Henschke, thank you for your time.